Welcome everyone to today's episode of Flat Tire Dan. As always, I want to start out by thanking everyone who viewed our last video. I know it was a bit long and long-winded, but I was really surprised how much information was available when I started digging on a topic that was kind of obscure and happened a century ago. And so I got a little bit excited. I wanted to share as much as I could. So for those of you who viewed it and stuck around to the end, thank you. For those of you who have found our YouTube channel, Flat Tire Dan, and have viewed the other videos there and subscribed, thank you very much. We're really enjoying kind of putting them together, and hopefully you guys are enjoying watching them. And so knowing that my last video was a little long, I'm going to try and keep this one short and sweet. From viewing our videos and the fact that I record mostly in the garage, you know that we are off-road enthusiasts here. And yesterday we got the opportunity to go riding with some of our off-road enthusiast friends. For me, the first time this season, because we spend most of the summer months on the water. And I, like always, I took a bunch of pictures and videos, and I actually took some GoPro footage. It's a little rough. I know I'm a bit of a beginner. I have to kind of logistically work out where I can better place the camera, but there is some live action type stuff there. So hopefully you enjoy all that. And the one thing I want to point out is hopefully that it comes through in the photos. You know, don't get me wrong, we're adrenaline junkies. We enjoy the hill climbs and the mud and all the riding, and it's all great. But like for me personally, one of the things I enjoy probably equally, or a couple of the things I enjoy probably equally as much, is the relationships. Like most of my riding friends aren't my neighbors. They're not people that I see day in and day out. They're people I've met in the community, you know. And so I don't get to see them for periods of time, you know, a few months now since we're just coming off the summer. And I only really get to see them when we go riding, and they're great people. Like, they're good friends, and we share a passion. But it's just kind of great to catch up, you know. Like, when we go riding, we're probably out 6, 7, 8 hours a day. And I will bet you half that time we just spend standing around in the middle of nowhere, you know, catching up on life, getting away from the hustle and bustle, talking about work and kids and life. And these are good friends that I don't get to see very often. And I really do enjoy spending time with them. And the next thing that hopefully the pictures will also convey is the scenery. Like, fall's in full bloom here right now, you know, and the places that we get to go, that these things can take us to, like I cannot see from the side of the highway. Like, you get out and you're in the middle, you're in God's country, and the views and the scenery and the valleys and the mountains and everything, especially now, like, it's breathtaking. It's breathtaking. And my camera probably doesn't do it justice. But again, like, as equally as important as the rush we get from being out there and tearing it up is just the scenery you get to see. And like, you can just stop in a place and have lunch, and you can't get enough of it. You just soak it all in. So hopefully the pictures and the videos convey that. You guys get a chance to appreciate that. So I really wasn't sure how I wanted to introduce this video, right? I didn't want to just be like, well, we went riding and here's some pictures. But I really wasn't sure, you know, what to do. And so Friday night I was loading her up on her trailer, and I'm friendly with my neighbors, and they had some friends over, and we were kind of all standing out in the driveway chatting it up, and they started asking me questions. And it struck me after that conversation that the questions they asked me are like the two same questions I get from almost anybody that I run into, you know, when I'm with this machine. If I'm at the gas station fueling up for the day, or I have some friends over who haven't been in my garage yet, right? And it's the same two questions all the time. It's, what is it, and where do you ride it? Right? So I thought I would touch on that a little bit before we get into the pictures and the videos. So what is it? Well, in the riding community, in the manufacturing community, it is referred to as a side-by-side. Pretty self-explanatory. 2 passengers, you sit side by side. Now, they make 4-passenger ones, you also sit side by side. According to the state of Pennsylvania, which is where I live, it is an ORV, an off-road vehicle, or sometimes referred to as an ATV, an all-terrain vehicle. And it is designed to be driven off-road. Actually, in the state of Pennsylvania, it is illegal to drive it on any public highway. And so there are other states that will allow you to drive them on the roads with certain modifications, windshields and wipers and turn signals and DOT-approved tires. But Pennsylvania isn't one of them. Now, I have seen people that have gone to the trouble of registering and insuring these vehicles in other states, and you do have to register and insure them, and then driving them in Pennsylvania. And I've seen it work for some people, and I've seen it not work for some people. But here in Pennsylvania, you're not allowed to drive them on the highway. This is made by a company called Can-Am. Can-Am is owned by a company called BRP, which also makes Sea-Doo personal watercraft and Ski-Doo snowmobiles. This is a Can-Am Commander XT1000R. It comes from their like sport utility line. 1000 stands for the cubic centimeter displacement of the engine. It's about 100 horsepower, do about 70 miles an hour. I'm probably not going to get into much more detail physically on the machine right now because I think it's probably some good content for another video. Where do we ride them? Well, we're fortunate here where we live that we're pretty geographically close to a place called Famous Reading Outdoors. Now there's some other places we also ride at. Predominantly we ride at Famous Reading Outdoors. Now their headquarters is in rural eastern coal country, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. But they're not just one location. They're actually a series of 7 different locations, all within like 30 miles of each other. And sum total is more than 20,000 acres or 650 miles of legal off-road trail riding. They have a great website which will explain to you like membership requirements. You do have to be a dues paying member to ride on their property, but it's reasonable. Trailhead locations, conditions at each different location, you know, level of difficulty, you know, what the prominent conditions are, whether it be hill climbs or mud or trails or open spaces. And every location has a little bit of each, but each one is kind of like suited for a different type of rider. And it's nice to kind of visit them all throughout the course of the year to really enjoy it. They're great there. Like the people are great. And like one thing that I've noticed, I've been a member for a few years now, is that you can really see the improvements that they're making from year to year. Logistics, like parking areas and safety, people working there to assist you if, God forbid, anything were to go wrong. You know, trail signage to make sure you kind of know where you're going and how to get back. Like they really have made an effort, and it's visible, you know, that, you know, as a dues paying member, like where that money's going. And I'm really appreciative of that. And the other thing that I mentioned and I'm probably not as grateful for it as I should, is that although we live close, and I guess the tendency is to assume that everybody gets this opportunity, that is not the case. I have been fortunate enough to do some traveling around the northeast of this country up to New York to do some riding, and we're kind of planning a trip for West Virginia. And when you look to see the availability of places like this with the variety and the acreage and the miles of trails, it's hard to find. It really is hard to find, at least in this portion of the country. And like sometimes I don't even remember it until I'm parked at the trailhead in the morning and I start talking to the guy parked next to me who came from Ohio, you know, or upstate New York or Delaware or New Jersey. Like there are states where there is nowhere, absolutely nowhere that you can legally off-road, you know, ride an off-road vehicle unless it's private property, like that you own or your neighbor owns or whatever. And so the fact that it's so close to us and it's such a great spot, you know, we really enjoy it there. I am going to tag them in the comments of the video. So if you guys want to do a little research, if you want to get into off-roading, I know a lot of people are like, well, I'd like to get into it, but I don't know where to ride. Well, this is a good spot. And, you know, like I said, from where I'm at, it's a couple-hour ride. It's not a big deal. So short and sweet. Hopefully you guys enjoy the pictures and the videos. And remember, stay tuned for more content from Flat Tire Dan. See ya. And go Phillies.
think they play again what, right?
Yep. 7 o'clock.
Oh, I'm tired again.
We'll see.